Welcome to Dementia Care Aware's education series on elder abuse. My name is Sami Patel, and I'm an attorney working with elder law and advocacy located in San Diego, California. I've been a practicing attorney in Southern California for 15 years, and my experience includes professional liability, employment and business law, and various other areas of civil litigation. I've been serving the senior community of San Diego since 2023. Elder Law and Advocacy is a nonprofit senior legal service located in San Diego and Imperial counties. We provide counsel and advice in various areas, including caregiver legal, nursing home rights, elder abuse, and health insurance counseling. Our goals today are to provide practitioners with a greater understanding of the types of elder abuse, the civil legal systems in place that support the elderly community, how and when to initiate a question or conversation with the patients to assess risk, and to know how and where to refer patients for immediate assistance and prevention of abuse. Elder Abuse and the Dependent Adult Civil Protection Act. Welfare and Institutions Code 15600. The legislature recognizes that elders and dependent adults may be subjected to abuse, neglect, or abandonment, and that this state has a responsibility to protect these persons. Welfare and Institutions Code 15601 goes on to state, the purposes of this act are to require health practitioners, care custodians, clergy members, and employees of county adult protective service agencies and local law enforcement agencies to report known or suspected cases of abuse of elders and dependent adults and to encourage community members in general to do so. So here we have our mandated reporting requirement. If you are unsure of what your hospital or clinic requirements are, please be sure to communicate directly with your hospital or clinic for more information. Our first case examines Mr. Smith, who is a well-ish 76-year-old. His son moved back home with him, and Mr. Smith mentions that he and his son don't get along. Mr. Smith wishes his son would move out. Is Mr. Smith a victim of elder abuse? Maybe. Abuse is not always physical. Abuse can be emotional, causing mental suffering, or financial. It may not be obvious if Mr. Smith is a victim of elder abuse. Mr. Smith can be empowered with his options of how he can move forward. For instance, various legal aid organizations may be available for him to consult with. He may be able to seek a restraining order against his son or an eviction of his son from the home. Here in San Diego, we have options such as Legal Aid Society and the San Diego Volunteer Lawyers Program, both of which offer restraining order assistance and eviction assistance. Also, our office offers free services to address these two areas of law. So if you happen to be a practitioner or a clinician that is located in the San Diego area, we could also be a resource for your patients. Welfare and Institutions Code section 1561007, abuse of an elder or a dependent adult means any of the following: physical abuse, neglect, abandonment, isolation, abduction, or other treatment with resulting physical harm or pain or mental suffering. The deprivation by a care custodian of goods or services that are necessary to avoid physical harm or mental suffering. Financial abuse, as defined in section 1561030. So what questions can the clinician ask Mr. Smith? Do you feel safe at home? Do you feel like your son is trying to belittle you? For instance, does he yell at you or make you feel badly about day-to-day activities or your day-to-day needs in the household? What signs might Mr. Smith display? So what are some other potential signs of elder abuse? If he admits that his son yells at him, even if Mr. Smith is making excuses for the behavior. or stating that Mr. Smith feels like he doesn't have any other options to improve his living situation. These all point to potential elder abuse. Also stating that his son likes things in a particular way. So, for instance, reflecting rigidity and loss of control by the patient. Are there civil remedies for elder abuse? Yes. So, outside of criminal court, the civil court does offer remedies for Mr. Smith. An elder abuse restraining order could be appropriate. An elder abuse restraining order would be initiated by the victim, not by the police or a district attorney. An elder abuse restraining order is relatively easy to obtain because it has a lower standard of evidence than criminal cases. Orders can include a conduct order. So, for instance, do not hit, do not yell, and a stay away order, stay 100 feet away, for instance, or some other measurement. It can also include an immediate move out order if there's a threat of violence. So here we don't quite see a threat of violence. However, if there was one, you could obtain a temporary restraining order. Those are available pretty immediately, typically within 24 hours of filing. And a move out order can be sought at the same time. So it's a very powerful tool. You don't have to wait for physical harm. We also have an unlawful detainer, which may be of use to us as a remedy to evict the son. Welfare and Institutions Code 1565703, an elder or dependent adult who has suffered abuse as defined in section 1561007 may seek protective orders as provided in this section. So essentially, this is the Welfare and Institutions Code that gives rise to the elder abuse restraining order modality in court. Where can you refer Mr. Smith for help? Local civil legal services provider to discuss options, including civil elder abuse restraining order and unlawful detainer, adult protective services, and also to review your mandated reporting requirements and evaluate whether reporting is necessary. So here we have adult protective services. They're a great lead and can provide additional resources in the event that they cannot step in. Also, here in San Diego, we have Legal Aid Society. We have the San Diego Lawyers Volunteer Program. There are similar organizations from city to city. And if you are having trouble locating your local legal aid that would assist with elder abuse or with eviction, you're more than welcome to email me. My contact information will be up at the end of the slides, and you can reach out and I'll help track down some resources for you in your area. Case number 2. Ms. Torres is a 76-year-old who is a diabetic that needs to eat well in order to maintain her health and has moderate dementia. She cannot afford healthy food, despite that not being a problem in the past. She mentions that she received a phone call about a friend needing money and help. Is Ms. Torres a victim of elder abuse? Maybe. Abuse is not always physical or emotional. It can be financial. It may not be obvious if Ms. Torres is a victim of elder abuse. Ms. Torres can be empowered with her options of how she can move forward. So what can we ask in this situation? First, do you know the friend that called you for help? We live in a day and age where we have quite a lot of scams that are going on, and the senior community is a very direct target for these scams. Often they happen over the internet, but they also happen over the phone. So it could be that Ms. Torres does not know who the offender is. You can also ask, do you feel pressure to give money? Did you think you would receive more money in return? Are there civil remedies for elder abuse in this situation? So the elder abuse restraining order would be an appropriate remedy if Ms. Torres knew who the abuser was. So for instance, a neighbor, family member, loved one, or an acquaintance. But the example I gave of potentially having a scam call or something along those lines, she wouldn't necessarily know who the offender was. And in those situations, I would encourage a patient to pursue a criminal remedy by reporting the offense to the local authorities, to police, the district attorney, or FBI. Now, if the patient does know who the offender is, we can return to the civil elder abuse restraining order. And also note that a patient can receive a financial restitution order as a remedy in connection with the restraining order, and is also able to obtain an order to stay away from the patient's bank account. So you can see the elder abuse restraining order really is a far-reaching method of securing an elderly's safety when it comes to their mental, emotional, physical, and financial health. And we also have the option of a civil financial elder abuse lawsuit. This would be more appropriate if you have a very complicated case or even a scam case. We'll typically see these a lot with lending, mortgage lending situations, and an elderly is being taken advantage of, or their naivety when it comes to understanding the type of loan they're taking out. And in these situations, we would refer the senior to a civil litigator to review their potential cause of action. And again, we can refer Ms. Torres to local, legal aid, adult protective services, and any other free senior legal services that are in your area. In case number 3, let's imagine that Ms. Torres has moderate to advanced dementia, and she knows she gave money away to a friend, but she's not aware of how much. So in this situation, is Ms. Torres a victim of elder abuse? Probably. Ms. Torres's friend may be taking advantage of her forgetfulness and asking for money on multiple occasions. What can you ask Ms. Torres? Is there anyone that helps you with your finances? Do you know if you have advanced planning documents? So for instance, do you have a durable power of attorney? Do you have an advanced healthcare directive? Do you feel pressure to give this money away? And are there civil remedies for this type of elder abuse? Yes, she could initiate an elder abuse restraining order. And now, in this case, because we had the moderate to advanced dementia, we'd want to review whether or not Ms. Torres has the capacity to initiate a court case or be the client of an attorney. But the agent on a power of attorney may be the petitioner, so the person asking the court for the restraining order on behalf of the victim, in this case, the victim being Ms. Torres. So this is yet another reason it's so important to have these documents prepared as soon as possible, so that if there is some wrongdoing, there is an avenue to make it right. Where can you refer Ms. Torres for help? Again, adult protective services and your local legal services provider to discuss the options of an elder abuse restraining order or an elder abuse lawsuit. Also, she may not have the capacity to contract and be a client with an attorney. However, many civil legal service providers will assist the agent on a power of attorney or give advice to another caregiver. So for instance, at our office at Elder Law and Advocacy, we have a whole program that is just dedicated to assisting caregivers for senior care recipients. In our last case, Mr. Johnson is 80 years old with severe physical limitations. She lives with her granddaughter, and it appears that Ms. Johnson has not bathed in a while and she's underweight. You have concerns that she's not well taken care of. Is Ms. Johnson a victim of elder abuse? Maybe. So we know the abuse is not always physical. Abuse can also be neglect. It may not be obvious if Ms. Johnson is a victim of elder abuse. So Welfare and Institutions Code 1561007, we revisit, yes, abuse of an elder or a dependent adult means neglect. Or in this case, it could also mean deprivation by a care custodian. Are there civil remedies for elder abuse in this situation? So is there someone that can advocate for Ms. Johnson? So we have, again, the option of an elder abuse restraining order. I've identified the California Court self-help information webpage on elder abuse restraining orders. It's a great source of information for you to review just so that you can become more aware of that process. Does she need more in-home supportive services hours? Does she need to change who the agent on her durable power of attorney and or advanced healthcare directive is? So in this situation, you might inquire, is your granddaughter your power of attorney? Is your granddaughter in charge of your healthcare directive? And if there is suspicion that she is neglecting her grandmother, you may want to review whether or not it might be time for her to change her agent. And then last, does she need help finding alternative care? Also, there are local senior centers that are a great collection of resources and information for senior care that could be a helpful support system to Ms. Johnson in this situation. And then it's also important to note, adult protective services can be an entry into the criminal process if that's appropriate. They would conduct an investigation to see if there is any wrongdoing, and if it rises to the level of a criminal violation, they would make that referral if appropriate. They can also help find a solution and connect with community services. I've also included the general web page for adult protective services. You're welcome to review that web page and become more familiar with it. Well, I know our time has been short. It's been a pleasure presenting the DCA education series on elder abuse. Feel free to reach me with any questions you may have. We've really just touched the surface here today, and I'd imagine that many of you have questions or just general comments are welcome as well. My email address is listed here. I've also included our directors, Jamie Levine and Jenna McCrae. They're always welcome to field questions, so no need to be a stranger. And also remember, the Dementia Care Aware Warm Line is available to you. It's an excellent support system that connects primary care teams with dementia care aware experts. Thank you so much.